All right, let's dive into a story that you might not know, even if you're a World War II buff.
Okay.
Today, we're exploring the career of David Lee, Tex Hill,
Yeah.
and his P-40 Warhawk. In the China-Burma-India theater,
Right.
it's a side of the war that often gets overshadowed by the European front,
Yeah,
but trust me, it's full of incredible feats and fascinating characters.
absolutely. The CBI was a crucial theater.
So to set the stage, we're talking 1941.
Okay.
Japan is on the offensive in the Pacific, and China is desperately trying to hold on. Enter the American Volunteer Group, better known as the Flying Tigers.
Right.
Now, this wasn't your typical military outfit, was it?
No, not at all.
Really?
The Flying Tigers were officially civilians,
Oh, wow.
recruited under a veil of secrecy by the U.S. government
Wow.
to support China.
Okay.
They were a mix of experienced pilots and ground crew,
Oh.
all with a thirst for adventure and a willingness to take on incredible odds.
So they were basically a band of maverick pilots thrown into the fray. I can see why their story has become legendary.
Yeah.
And where does Tex Hill fit into all of this?
So Tex was one of these Flying Tiger pilots,
Okay.
and a standout one from the start.
From the very beginning.
Yeah, he was born in Korea
Wow.
to American missionary parents,
Interesting.
but raised in Texas,
Hence the nickname.
hence the nickname.
Before joining the AVG, he was already a skilled naval aviator.
Right.
So he was already a top-notch pilot.
Yes.
Before even stepping foot in a P-40.
Right.
That's fascinating.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that naval aviation experience came in handy when he had to transition to fighting in a land-based theater.
Absolutely.
Right.
His experience gave him a solid foundation.
Uh-huh.
But transitioning to the P-40
Right.
and facing a new enemy
Yeah.
in a completely different environment
Totally.
would have been a steep learning curve.
For sure.
Yeah.
Speaking of the P-40,
Yeah.
those planes sported the iconic shark mouth nose art, right? I've always found that so striking.
Yeah, that's one of the enduring images of the Flying Tigers.
Right.
Though Tex Hill's plane
Yeah.
didn't have a unique nickname.
Okay.
The shark mouth design. Likely inspired by German planes.
Interesting.
With a powerful symbol
Yeah.
meant to intimidate the enemy.
It's interesting how something as simple as a paint job
Right.
can have such a psychological impact in warfare.
Yeah.
But intimidation aside,
Sure.
how did the P-40 actually stack up against Japanese aircraft?
Well-
Like the Mitsubishi A6M0?
Right.
I know the Zero had a reputation for being incredibly agile.
Oh, yeah. The Zero was a formidable opponent,
Yeah.
but the P-40 wasn't without its own strengths. It was
Okay.
rugged,
Er,
able to take a beating,
right.
and keep flying.
Wow.
It also packed a punch with its 6.50 caliber machine guns.
So maybe not as nimble as the Zero,
Right.
but definitely more durable
Yeah.
and with significant firepower.
Yes.
So how did the Flying Tigers use those strengths to their advantage?
Well, they couldn't win
Yeah.
in a straight dogfight with a Zero.
Right.
So they had to be smarter.
I see.
They used what we call boom and zoom tactics.
Okay.
They would dive on enemy formations from a higher altitude
Uh-huh.
using their superior speed,
Right.
unleash a devastating attack with their machine guns,
Oh, wow.
and then use that speed to climb back up before the Zeros could effectively respond.
So it was a combination of using the P-40's strengths,
Exactly.
knowing its limitations,
Right.
and developing tactics that played to those advantages.
That's right.
That's pretty clever.
It was
Yeah.
it was a testament to their adaptability and tactical thinking.
Yeah.
They essentially turned their disadvantage into an advantage.
Wow.
And it worked brilliantly.
Right.
The Flying Tigers achieved an incredible kill-to-loss ratio,
Really?
despite being outmatched technologically.
Now that's what I call turning the tables.
Yeah.
But what happened to the Flying Tigers after this initial success? I know they didn't stay in China forever.
Right.
Right.
In July of 1942,
Okay.
the American Volunteer Group was officially disbanded. But that wasn't the end for many of the pilots,
Right.
including Tex Hill.
Okay.
He chose to continue fighting,
Yeah.
joining the newly formed
Right.
U.S. Army Air Force's 23rd Fighter Group.
So he went from being a civilian volunteer
Yeah,
to a full-fledged member of the U.S. military.
exactly.
Talk about a career shift.
Right.
I imagine that transition must have been pretty significant.
It was a big change,
Yeah.
going from this somewhat independent,
Right.
almost mercenary-like group
Yeah,
to a formal military structure.
I see.
But what's interesting is that the 23rd Fighter Group,
Yeah.
still led by General Claire Lee Chennault,
Okay.
essentially adopted many of the Flying Tigers' tactics.
Wow.
Chennault saw the value in what the AVG had achieved and wanted to maintain that edge.
So they weren't just replacing the AVG, they were trying to build upon their legacy. That speaks volumes about the respect Chennault had for what those pilots accomplished.
I think so.
And how did Tex Hill fare in this new environment?
Well, he thrived.
He did.
He continued to rack up victories, eventually reaching an astounding 18.25 confirmed aerial victories by the war's end.
Wow, 18.25.
Yeah,
That number alone is remarkable.
it is.
But beyond the numbers,
Sure.
how did his leadership style evolve during this time?
Okay.
He was already a squadron leader with the Flying Tigers, right?
Yes, he was.
And he was leading, sorry.
He led the 2nd Squadron,
Right.
nicknamed the Panda Bears,
Oh, wow.
and he continued to develop his leadership skills within the 23rd Fighter Group.
Okay.
He was known for his courage,
Right.
his tactical brilliance, and his ability to inspire his men.
Panda Bears, huh?
Yeah,
That's an interesting name for a squadron with such a fierce reputation.
it is.
It seems like there was a real sense of camaraderie and maybe even a bit of humor amidst the intensity of the fighting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Those nicknames and the stories that surround them
Yeah.
are a reminder that these were real people
Uh-huh.
facing unimaginable pressure,
Wow.
but finding ways to maintain their humanity
Right.
and esprit de corps.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating aspect to their story.
Okay, so we've got Tex Hill, the skilled pilot
Right.
who transitioned from naval aviation to leading a squadron of P-40s
Uh-huh.
in the China-Burma-India theater.
Right.
He fought with the legendary Flying Tigers,
Yes.
racking up an impressive number of victories,
He did.
and then continued his service in the U.S. Army Air Force's 23rd Fighter Group,
Right.
carrying on the legacy of innovation and daring established by the AVG.
Exactly.
What stands out to you the most about this part of his journey?
Well, what's fascinating to me is how Tex Hill embodies this spirit of adaptation.
Okay.
He was constantly learning, refining his skills,
Right.
and adjusting his approach to meet new challenges. It's a testament to his flexibility
Right.
as a leader and a fighter pilot.
I see.
And it really makes you wonder,
Yeah.
how did this constant evolution
Yeah.
and willingness to embrace unconventional tactics
Yeah.
influence the broader landscape of air combat during World War II?
That's a great question.
It is.
It's easy to focus on the individual stories,
right.
but it's important to understand how those stories fit into the bigger picture.
Yes.
So how did Tex Hill's experience,
Okay.
and that of the Flying Tigers in general,
Right.
influence the development of air combat tactics?
Well, I think one of the most significant contributions was their emphasis on aggressiveness and initiative.
Okay.
They weren't afraid to take the fight to the enemy.
Wow.
Even when they were outnumbered or
Yeah.
outmatched technologically,
Yeah.
they knew that speed and surprise
Right.
could be just as effective as maneuverability.
So they were challenging the conventional wisdom of the time,
Yeah.
which I'm guessing was heavily focused on dogfighting and aerial acrobatics.
Exactly.
Right.
The prevailing thought, especially early in the war,
Okay.
was that you needed to outmaneuver the enemy to win a dogfight.
Right, right.
But the Flying Tigers proved that there were other ways to achieve victory.
Wow.
They showed that a well-coordinated attack
Right.
using hit-and-run tactics
Yeah.
could be incredibly effective,
Uh-huh.
even against a more agile opponent.
And that shift in thinking,
Right.
that willingness to break from tradition,
Yeah.
must have had a ripple effect throughout the U.S. Army Air Forces, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
The success of the Flying Tigers
Uh-huh.
and later the 23rd Fighter Group
Right.
demonstrated that adaptability and innovation were essential
Okay.
for survival and victory in the air.
Wow.
Their tactics were studied and adapted by other units,
Right.
and their influence can be seen
Uh-huh.
in the development of air combat doctrine throughout the war.
It's almost like they were pioneers, paving the way for a new era of air combat.
I think so.
And speaking of pioneers, Tex Hill received some pretty significant recognition for his service, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Our sources mention the Distinguished Flying Cross and the Silver Star.
He was a highly decorated pilot,
Yeah.
and those awards speak volumes about his bravery and skill.
Right.
He received the Distinguished Flying Cross twice,
Okay.
which is awarded for heroism or extraordinary achievement
Oh,
while participating in aerial flight.
wow.
And the Silver Star is no small feat either.
Right.
It's awarded for gallantry in action against an enemy of the United States.
He was also awarded the British Distinguished Flying Cross.
Yes.
It's interesting to me that he received a British decoration
Right.
while serving as an American pilot,
Yeah.
primarily in the China-Burma-India theater.
Right.
What's the significance of that?
That's a great observation.
Yeah.
And it highlights the collaborative nature of the Allied war effort.
Okay.
The fact that a British decoration was given to an American pilot. Fighting in the CBI theater
Yeah.
really underscores the idea that this was a global conflict,
Right.
a fight against a common enemy.
Uh-huh.
National boundaries became less significant when faced with such a threat.
It's a reminder that these alliances were forged in the fires of shared sacrifice and mutual respect.
Absolutely.
It wasn't just about winning battles.
Right.
It was about fighting for a shared cause.
Yes.
A vision of a world free from tyranny.
You put it perfectly.
And that sense of shared purpose is evident in the stories of these pilots.
It is.
The camaraderie they shared,
Yeah.
the risks they took, and
Yeah.
the sacrifices they made.
Absolutely.
It was a different time,
Yes.
a different kind of war.
It was.
So we've talked about Tex Hill's piloting skills,
Right.
his leadership, his decorations,
Right.
and the impact of his service on the evolution of air combat tactics.
Yeah.
But what about Tex Hill, the man?
Okay.
What kind of legacy did he leave behind beyond the battlefield?
Well, he was a man of incredible determination and resilience. Someone who was always willing to push himself
Right.
and those around him to be better.
Yeah.
He was known for his humility,
Right.
his sense of humor, and his unwavering commitment to duty.
Okay.
He was a leader who inspired others,
Yeah.
not just through his words,
Right.
but through his actions.
He sounds like the embodiment of that classic American hero.
I think so.
The quiet, unassuming individual
Right.
who steps up when it matters most,
Yeah.
leads by example,
Uh-huh.
and never seeks the spotlight.
Exactly.
Right.
And his legacy extends far beyond his military service.
Okay.
After the war, he became a successful businessman
Wow.
and was actively involved in preserving the history of the Flying Tigers,
Really?
ensuring that their story and their sacrifices would never be forgotten.
That's amazing.
He was a true American icon,
Yeah.
a symbol of courage, leadership, and dedication.
It's amazing to think about the impact one person can have,
It really is.
both on the battlefield and in the years that follow.
It is.
He was a testament to the power of the human spirit,
Yes.
to overcome adversity and leave a lasting legacy on the world.
Absolutely.
And I think it's important to remember that these individuals, these heroes we admire,
Right.
were ordinary people who found themselves in extraordinary circumstances.
That's true.
They rose to the occasion.
Yeah.
Not because they were superhuman, but because they were human.
Exactly.
They had fears, doubts, and vulnerabilities.
Of course.
But they chose to act with courage and determination
Yes.
to make a difference.
They did.
Their stories remind us that we all have the potential for greatness within us.
Uh-huh.
That even in the face of overwhelming challenges,
Right.
we can find the strength to persevere
Yeah.
and make a positive impact on the world.
Absolutely.
But how do we take these incredible stories of courage and resilience
Okay.
and apply them to our own lives?
Right.
How can we learn from the experiences of people like Tex Hill and find that same spirit of determination in our own journeys?
That's a powerful question.
It is.
And I think one of the most important takeaways from Tex Hill's story
Okay.
is the importance of adaptability.
Right.
He was constantly learning, evolving, and adjusting his approach to meet new challenges.
Uh-huh.
And that's a lesson that's relevant for all of us.
Right.
Whether we're facing a global conflict
Yeah.
or navigating the complexities of everyday life.
So it's not just about being tough or fearless.
No.
It's about being flexible, open to new ideas,
Yes.
and willing to step outside our comfort zones to achieve our goals.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's about embracing challenges as opportunities for growth,
Okay.
learning from our mistakes,
Uh-huh.
and constantly striving to be better.
Right.
Tex Hill's story reminds us that we don't have to be born heroes.
Yeah.
We can become heroes by embracing the challenges we face
Wow.
and using them to forge our own paths to greatness.
Now that's an inspiring message.
It is.
It's a reminder that we all have the capacity for heroism within us, waiting to be unleashed.
That's right.
But I'm curious, how did his experience in the CBI theater,
Right.
a theater that was often overlooked
Ah.
or considered secondary to the European front,
Yeah.
shape his worldview and his approach to leadership?
Right.
Did fighting in this often forgotten corner of the war
Yeah.
give him a unique perspective that he carried with him throughout his life?
That's a fascinating question.
It is.
And I think you're right.
Yeah.
The CBI theater,
Right.
with its unique challenges and its diverse cast of characters,
Yeah.
must have had a profound impact on him.
Right.
He was exposed to different cultures, different ways of thinking,
Okay.
and different ways of fighting.
I see.
And that exposure must have broadened his horizons
Right.
and deepened his understanding of the world.
So it wasn't just about mastering aerial combat. It was about mastering the art of navigating complex human interactions,
Absolutely.
understanding different perspectives, and finding common ground amidst diversity.
Precisely.
Right.
And I think that's a lesson
Yeah.
that's more relevant than ever in today's increasingly interconnected world.
Absolutely.
We need leaders who can bridge cultural divides,
Yes.
who can see the world through multiple lenses, and who can build relationships based on mutual respect and understanding.
It sounds like Tex Hill wasn't just a skilled pilot and a decorated war hero.
Right.
He was a bridge builder,
Yeah.
a unifier, someone who saw the value in diversity
Yes.
and understood the power of collaboration.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
Yeah.
And I think his story is a testament to the idea that true leadership is not about power or dominance, but about empathy, understanding, and the ability to bring people together to achieve a common goal.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the extraordinary life of Tex Hill, I'm left with this feeling of awe and inspiration.
It's incredible.
He was a man who not only lived through one of the most tumultuous periods in human history,
Right.
but thrived in it,
He did.
leaving an indelible mark on the world.
Absolutely.
His story is a testament to the power of the human spirit,
It is?
a reminder that even in the darkest of times, courage, determination, and a willingness to adapt can make all the difference.
Well said.
Their stories deserve to be told, remembered, and honored.
They do.
And I think their legacy can inspire us all to live with greater purpose, courage, and a commitment to making the world a better place.
I agree.
What a powerful reminder.
It is.
It's been an honor to delve into this chapter of history with you.
The pleasure was all mine.
Until next time.
Until next time.
It really makes you think about the individuals behind these grand historical events.
Right.
It's so easy to get lost in the dates and the battles,
It's-
but ultimately it's the personal stories,
Right.
the acts of courage and resilience that truly bring history to life.
Absolutely.
And what strikes me about Tex Hill's story
Yeah.
is that he embodies that classic American spirit of adventure,
Right.
a willingness to take risks and face the unknown.
Uh-huh.
He wasn't content with just following the traditional path.
No.
You know, it's funny you should say that.
Okay.
I was just thinking about his transition from naval aviation
Right.
to flying P-40s in the CBI theater.
Uh-huh.
That's not a small leap.
No, it's not.
He essentially had to learn a whole new way of flying and fighting.
And that adaptability,
Right.
that willingness to learn and evolve was crucial to the success of the Flying Tigers.
Right.
And later, the 23rd Fighter Group.
Yeah.
They were constantly facing new challenges,
Right.
adapting to new environments, refining their tactics to stay one step ahead of the enemy.
It's almost like they embrace the unconventional,
It is.
which isn't something we typically associate with military organizations.
Right.
They were willing to break from tradition
Yes.
and try new things, and that willingness to experiment ultimately gave them an edge.
And you see that reflected in the tactics they employed.
Okay.
They understood that they couldn't win
Right.
in a traditional dogfight against the Zero.
Yeah.
So they developed these hit-and-run tactics
Right.
that capitalized on the P-40 strengths,
Okay.
its speed and firepower.
Right.
They turned their limitations into advantages.
It's a reminder that sometimes the most effective solutions come from thinking outside the box.
Yes.
From challenging the status quo and finding creative ways to overcome obstacles. And Tex Hill seems to have embodied that spirit throughout his career.
He did.
Yeah.
And I think it's a valuable lesson for all of us,
Okay.
regardless of our profession or our circumstances.
Right.
The world is constantly changing. And we need to be able to adapt,
Right.
to learn new skills,
Yeah.
and to embrace new ways of thinking.
It's about being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
With pushing ourselves beyond our perceived limitations.
It is.
It's about embracing challenges as opportunities for growth.
Exactly.
And Tex Hill's story is a powerful example
It is.
of what can be accomplished when we combine that spirit of adaptability with courage,
Right.
determination, and a willingness to serve something greater than ourselves.
His story is a testament to the power of the human spirit.
Yeah.
A reminder that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds,
Right.
we can achieve extraordinary things.
And as we conclude this deep dive,
Okay.
I'm left with the sense of wonder and gratitude
Yeah.
for the sacrifices made by individuals like Tex Hill,
Right.
who fought to protect the freedoms we enjoy today.
Well said.
Their stories deserve to be told,
They do.
remembered,
Yeah.
and honored.
Absolutely.
And I think their legacy can inspire us all to live with greater purpose,
Yeah.
courage, and a commitment to making the world a better place.
I agree.
What a powerful reminder.
It is.
It's been an honor to delve into this chapter of history with you.
The pleasure was all mine.
Until next time.
Until next time.
It really makes you think about the individuals behind these grand historical events.
It does.
It's so easy to get lost
Right.
in the dates and the battles.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's the personal stories,
Absolutely.
the acts of courage and resilience that
Yeah.
truly bring history to life.
They do.
And what strikes me about Tex Hill's story
Okay.
is that he embodies that classic American spirit of adventure,
Uh-huh.
a willingness to take risks
Right.
and face the unknown.
You did.
He wasn't content with just following the traditional path.
No.
You know, it's funny you should say that.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about his transition from naval aviation
Right.
to flying P-40s in the CBI theater. That's not a small leap.
No, it's not.
He essentially had to learn a whole new way of flying and fighting.
And that adaptability, that
Yeah.
willingness to learn and evolve
Yeah.
was crucial to the success of the Flying Tigers.
Yeah.
And later, the 23rd Fighter Group.
Right.
They were constantly facing new challenges, adapting to new environments,
Right.
and refining their tactics
Right.
to stay one step ahead of the enemy.
It's almost like they embrace the unconventional,
It is.
which isn't something we typically associate with military organizations.
Right.
They were willing to break from tradition
They were.
and try new things.
Yeah.
And that willingness to experiment
Right.
ultimately gave them an edge.
And you see that reflected in the tactics they employed.
Yeah.
They understood they couldn't win
Right.
in a traditional dogfight against the Zero.
Right.
So they developed these hit-and-run tactics
Right.
that capitalized on the P-40's strengths,
Okay.
its speed and firepower.
Yeah.
They turned their limitations into advantages.
It's a reminder that sometimes the most effective solutions
Uh.
come from thinking outside the box,
Absolutely.
from challenging the status quo,
Yep.
and finding creative ways to overcome obstacles.
Exactly.
And Tex Hill seems to have embodied that spirit
Yeah.
throughout his career.
He did.
And I think it's a valuable lesson for all of us.
It is.
Regardless of our profession or our circumstances.
Right.
The world is constantly changing.
Yes.
And we need to be able to adapt,
We
to learn new skills, and to embrace new ways of thinking.
Right.
It's about being comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Exactly.
With pushing ourselves beyond our perceived limitations.
Right.
It's about embracing challenges as opportunities for growth.
Absolutely.
And Tex Hill's story is a powerful example
It is.
of what can be accomplished when we combine that spirit of adaptability
Yeah.
with courage, determination,
Right.
and a willingness to serve something greater than ourselves.
His story is a testament to the power of the human spirit,
Yeah.
a reminder that even in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds,
Right.
we can achieve extraordinary things.
And as we conclude this deep dive, I'm left with this sense of wonder and gratitude
Yeah.
for the sacrifices made by individuals like Tex Hill,
Absolutely.
who fought to protect the freedoms we enjoy today.
Well said.
Their stories deserve to be told,
They do.
remembered, and
Yeah.
honored.
Absolutely.
And I think their legacy can inspire us all to live with greater purpose,
I agree.
courage, and a commitment to making the world a better place.
It's inspiring.
What a powerful reminder.
It is.
It's been an honor to delve into this chapter of history with you.
The pleasure was all mine.
Until next time.
Until next time.